Next item is call to the public. We have none that have signed up, so we will move then to the action items on the agenda. Item number 4 is consideration of consent agenda. All items with an asterisk are consent matters unless they are removed from the consent agenda at this time. Any item may be removed from the consent agenda by any governing board member. Consent agenda items will be approved by one motion, and there will be no specific discussion of these items. Items removed from the consent agenda will be approved as a non-consent agenda item. What is the pleasure of the board?
I would make a motion that
There are, 3 items on the consent agenda. Yes. You're very welcome. I think I was getting a motion.
I would make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
I have a motion to approve. Second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as presented. Any discussion? Hearing none, we will proceed to vote. Those in favor of the consent agenda, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed by saying nay? Motion carries unanimously. Next item on the agenda is the non-consent items, and item number 8 is the policies for first reading. Invite Brandy Clark to come forward.
This, we present to you today the first reading of 5 policies. As you know, we are in the process of reviewing and revising most all of our policies. So we are you're going to start seeing that momentum move. And this is the first 5 coming forward to you. These have been reviewed by our policy committee, as well as constituency feedback has been received. So they come to us first reading. We have our audit policy, our cash reserves, financial controls, gifts, and risk management policy. We ask that there is no need for any action today other than just review. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to turn it over to Chris Wadka to answer those finance policy questions.
Thank you very much. Any questions or discussion from the board members? Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Next item on the agenda is report from Central Arizona College President, Dr. Elliott.
Good afternoon, everyone. Wow, that's very loud. And welcome to our June board meeting. I have a few updates. Am I cutting out or is that me? To provide for you. Keep in mind the summer months are a little slow, but one of the things that I really want to highlight is the college's systems portfolio for accreditation will be submitted next week. And a huge thank you needs to go to Hugo Steinkamp for his efforts in writing and organizing the portfolio. And I also want to recognize and thank Jenny Cardenas, Mary Kay Gilliland, Chris Wadka, Brandy Clark, and Sylvia Gibson for their assistance with this process. So thank you all very much. It's, as you know, having accreditation is fairly important. So it's been a long year. Also of note is 27 area 7th and 8th grade students were on campus last week for the Young Advanced Technology Academy. And this week there are 25 9th and 10th grade students on campus. And as you recall, this is something that we started last year to really introduce to young people the concept of careers in advanced technology. We also have 60 Upper Bound students on campus. They've been here for, I think, 2 weeks. They're here for a total of 6 weeks. They're taking classes, and these are high school students from the area. And you may recall this is the grant that we received last year or this year. It's a highly competitive grant, and we were really fortunate to receive that Upper Bound grant. Right now, plans are underway for an open house and a ribbon cutting ceremony for the new science building and the new union, and that will be held in August. And in fact, it will be held on the same day as our August board meeting. So this is the last time we hold a board meeting in this room. if anybody wants to celebrate or mourn, now's the chance. But we'll be in the Union come August. Last month, I was able to meet with Governor Ducey and share some of CAC's successes, in particular the SUNT program, and he was very impressed with the things that Central Arizona College is doing. So it was a great honor to be able to spend time with him and share our success stories. And lastly, there is a correspondence in your board book. It is actually an email from Joe Martinez from Valago Middle School, and he is very complimentary, thanking the college and several of our employees. So I want to make sure that I draw your attention to that for hosting 70 sixth grade students on our campus in May. And he really called out a lot of people and departments to thank. And so we were really happy to get that. And with that, that completes my report, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions and comments?
Just a comment, Mr. Chair. Mrs. Christensen and I went to the Advanced Technology to take a look at the projects that they're doing, and we're introduced to some of the partners that we have, business partners. I saw a lot of excitement with the kids. They were readily explaining what they were doing, and I think they were heavily engaged. And this particular partner was quite impressed with what he was seeing with us. So great job there in that program.
Thank you.
Thank you. Other comments or questions? Dr. Banks, anything from you?
Nothing at this time.
Very good. We're always pleased to see the college interacting with the next generation of students coming up. That's really a good thing to do. Absolutely. Number 10, Business Affairs Report. Chris Falk.
Thank you, and good afternoon, Mr. Chair, governing board members, Madam President, Madam Secretary, and colleagues and any guests here this afternoon. 3 reports for information this afternoon. First one is the monthly budget reports, and this is through the month of May. So 11 months of the fiscal year completed. It shows that general fund expenditures and committed funds are at about 87.
Thank you. We'll mention that. We're going to push you down at the other end of the table.
Our expenditures are at 87.6% of the total budget, which is about 4.25% higher than last year, May of 17, which was at 83.34%. Happy to answer any questions you may have on the 11-month activity.
Any questions about business activities? We're on track.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Second item is the awarded purchases of $20,000 and over. There are 4 of them. The first one is telescope controller and equipment repair, Astrometric Instruments Incorporated out of Westborough, Massachusetts, in the amount of $35,271. That is to purchase a new control system for the telescope and to repair the focuser and the filter wheel monitor. And these are funds from the state aid. Second one, HPE Nimble Storage, CDWG Incorporated, Vernon Hills, Illinois, $79,106.99, and that is to purchase storage for the Business Information Technology Department. Next one, HPE ProLiant Blades, CDWG Incorporated, Vernon Hills, Illinois, $25,212.46, and that is to purchase IT blades also for the Business Information Technology Department. And the last one is to purchase IT training credits from New Horizons out of Tucson, Arizona, in the amount of $21,800. Any questions on the 4 purchases? No? Okay. Our last item is a ERP update, as you've received over the last several months. HR, payroll, finance, student services, and academics. One thing to note on here is that the HR payroll and finance system, we have deliberated over the last several days and have decided to push back our live date until August 1st rather than July 1st, due to a number of issues where we are not 100% assured right now in all our end-to-end testing. And obviously, with payroll finances, we need to be 100% accurate in our test phases before we go live. So we are pushing that back 1 month period of time at this point. I'd also like to call up Don Penrose. He is our project manager from Campus Works. If you'd like to say a few words on our delay, since he's been here with us for the full 18 months of our implementation cycle.
Your magic. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Good to see you all again. My name is Don Penrose. I'm the project manager with Campus Works. I want to be clear, I work for Campus Works, not campus management. And I want to say that because we're at the place here where we are delaying our go live by 1 month. And campus management has accepted responsibility for the delay in the go live. I want to be clear that the delay is not due to, in any part, to Central Arizona. I want to be clear. So the staff here have been diligent. They have been hardworking. They have put in, I apologize, they've put in so many hours over the last 18 months on this project. It is not because of lack of desire to go live that we are delaying this. This has to do with we are not physically able to consume all the items that need to be done and tested in the time that was expected for the July 1st date. So this that you're seeing up on the board is the original campus management project plan. This is a portion of it. Good God, I'm sorry, you guys. It's like fireworks. This is a portion of it because the original project plan starts from January 2017. So you're seeing a condensed calendar. What you are not seeing is all the elements and components from the student portal and custom integrations pieces when we went live with the student system in November 2017. That said, as of today, we have one component for CRM that is live, and we are expecting the student applications piece to also go live within the next couple of days to possibly into next week. Financial aid is fully automated. This did not occur and had never occurred in your legacy banner system. Your financial aid team are to be highly commended because this is a huge accomplishment for any financial aid office. In particular, you guys have gone fully automated with new software, new vendor, on time, in fact, ahead of schedule. So the financial aid piece is phenomenal. Lastly, on finance, HR, payroll, I do want to say that we've put in many hours, a lot of hard work, and we've jointly agreed that we will delay go live. If you have any questions or about those components, I'm happy to answer them at this point.
No questions.
Is that one for the president?
Did you have?
Madam President, how does this impact administration and enrollment in the fall semester?
I don't believe delaying finance, HR, and payroll will have as much impact on enrollment as some of the student issues that we still are trying to resolve a little bit since going live. We have a few, I don't know if they're kinks to work out on the student registration side, but this pretty much impacts, and Don and Chris could probably address it better than me, mostly impacts our ability to automate payroll and some of our financial obligations and processes, purchasing and those sort of things.
Correct. So as far as enrollment, we do not see a direct correlation to the go live date change for HR, payroll, finance. Those are administrative functions supporting the college, but the student component pieces should be already in place and be improved continuously as we move forward.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
So,
Other questions, comments? Thank you for your report. We appreciate all your hard work on it.
I'll appreciate seeing you guys again. Gladys, always a pleasure.
Nice to see you.
Thank you. That concludes my report.
Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is monitoring reports.
Deborah's still on the podium.
Yeah. Are you gonna? Is she gonna read the?
Oh, yeah, they're going to do monitoring. Okay, we'll leave it there.
So we're going to invite Dr. Cardenas to stand.
Good afternoon, President Christensen. I apologize. And then I said it really loud. President Gibson, I apologize. Governing Board, Dr. Elliott, colleagues, staff, and guests, thank you for having me here again today. The component that we're discussing today for the board monitoring reports, you can go to the next slide, actually deals with our infrastructure. So there are three separate components that will be talked about. The infrastructure component includes ensuring physical and technological infrastructure that supports changes in learning in a working environment. And there will be three of us today, Dr. Gilliland and Chris Wadka, who will also be presenting on each of the different areas. So this is something that is overarching across several different divisions throughout the college. So the first will be supporting student satisfaction. And then Dr. Gilliland will address employee satisfaction. I'm sorry, Dr. Wadka. I'm just all over the place today. Dr. Wadka, Mr. Wadka will. Can we have a do-over? How strong was the coffee at lunch? Okay. Employee satisfaction with facilities will be Mr. Wadka, and then Dr. Gilliland will address satisfaction with the teaching environment. Okay. So to begin with, if we can go to the next slide, we'll look at student support. This was the question that was addressed on the Community College Survey of Student Engagement, which measures student satisfaction with the college's physical environment and technological support. So in this area, students respond to the learning space. They respond to adequate support with technology, as well as personal support through advising, mentoring, and all of the different services that we have at the college. So taking a look at the graph that's there, the goal that was set by the governing board was 60%. And we are at this current point at 58% based on what students indicate in the Community College Survey of Student Engagement. So we do have a little bit of work to do in this area to reach the goal, but I wanted to address both our recent improvements and also our planned improvements. So recent improvements, and again, this is across the board for the college. We have upgraded computers for students as well as for employees. We've started to look at wraparound support services and have implemented the one-stop type model at our Superstition Mountain campus and plan to expand that to the other campuses in the coming years. We've implemented a 5-year IT master plan, which includes computer replacement process, and there's a plan for all of that as well. Improved student communication through the enrollment process. So really taking a look at when students come in from start to finish, what are the different things that they need to do along the way, and helping students to really understand what those processes are and where they can receive services. We've been awarded additional grant programs to help with these areas, such as the Upward Bound and Gear Up programs that Dr. Elliott spoke of earlier to support our students, and they've been just incredible programs so far. To see the groups of students on campus and working with so many different people is very encouraging. And they seem to really be enjoying the support that they're receiving. Our first ever Title IX student climate survey, so assessing the climate and understanding from our students as to if there were to be some type of an incident that was connected to Title IX, to sexual assault, misconduct, those types of things. Would they know where to report? Do they know where to find resources? Things like that. We did our first ever survey such as that for the entire student population this semester. And then ongoing training for Blackboard for our faculty in order to optimize student learning as well. The things that we have planned over the next coming years are gathering feedback from students. We've discussed student forums to really find out what are the needs of the students, where do they see that there is a disconnect or services that might not be provided, and speaking to students on each of the different campuses. We're currently working with student engagement to get those set up for next semester. Developing a 5-year instructional master plan. redevelopment of some of our spaces on the Signal Peak campus. So really taking a look at how we're set up and if it's the best way to provide services for our students regarding space. The creation of our Veterans Center. So we may mourn the fact that the governing board meetings won't be held here come August, but we'll actually start the process of developing the Veterans Center on this front end here for veterans. So that'll be exciting to see the transformation in the space and still have meeting space on this other side. We're still in conversations regarding health and wellness services and general care, things that we can offer on campus, and those conversations and partnerships have really started to develop. So we're excited to see where that heads, where that leads. And then better integration of my math labs with Blackboard as well was listed as a recent or coming improvement, planned improvement. So I will now turn it over to, and let's see if I can get this right, Chris Wadka, is that your name? Mr. Chris Wadka, who will address facilities.
Thank you, Dr. Jenny.
Yes, ma'am. I'm here. Yes, Dr. Banks.
Can you elaborate on the health and wellness stuff that you're going to be doing?
We're in the phase where we're really discussing what the needs of our students are. To begin with, it may be offering services to students on our campus through partnership with counseling services, potentially with a nurse practitioner, someone who might be able to come to Signal Peak and work with us, as well as different workshops. We're right now just really discussing what the needs are of the students and determining what the plan of implementation might be, what the location might be, and how to move forward with that.
What about the community? How far out is that from your discussion?
Can you help me to understand what the community and providing services to the community?
No, providing forums and health and wellness for the community.
That hasn't necessarily been part of the discussion at this point. We're focusing on currently the needs of the students. So not to say that there wouldn't be activities that would be open to both students and the community, such as we've had health and wellness fairs on our campuses before that have been open to the community. So I would see that being, definitely an appropriate setting. At this point, as I said, the focus has been on the needs of the students.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Jenny, you might mention we're exploring the possibility of having like a nurse practitioner on campus and actual counselor, so it's staffing too.
Oh, right. I'm sorry if I didn't explain that correctly. Yes, we're looking at partnering with different people within the community who might be able to bring their services to our campus to provide those services for students.
Okay, thank you. 7.2 is satisfaction with facilities. And this is just another method of providing the evidence, ensuring both a physical and a technological infrastructure. The board back in 2017 issued a target of 75% for satisfaction. You'll see over the last 3 years we're a little below that target, the last year being 2017. That was through the Great Colleges to Work survey. We're approximately 66%, so we have a little room for improvement there in order to reach our target. Some of our recent improvements, obviously the new science building and the new student union, which will open up in a fall term, helps in terms of our satisfaction with facilities, brand new facilities. And some of the planned improvements that we have is working on a 5-year facilities master plan that will address the needs of the rest of the buildings on this campus as well as the other campuses. And we're also redeveloping the space on this campus. About 2 months ago, the president and the vice presidents, we did a little walkthrough here on a Friday morning and kind of looked into all the nooks and crannies of all of these buildings on campus, and we have kind of a game plan set up on how to reallocate space for this particular campus. And the last thing we're doing is we're also gathering feedback from employees in terms of what may be some of the dissatisfaction factors that they have on this campus, so they could help us on how we can address those and satisfy their needs. So that's 7.2.
I might just add real quickly for those of you that might wonder, we're the green bar chart, and our peers our peer institutions are the gray. So if you're wondering, that's how we compare to our peers.
Any questions for?
Well, what I would say is that I would take our peer performance and say that's the national average for our peers. These are institutions that are most like us. Well, no, it's great colleges to work for, so it's every institution that takes this. It's a community college. So I would say that's the national average.
I have a
Please.
comment. May I give a shout out to Ernesto and his staff? I don't think that the numbers here really reflect how well the facilities are maintained. So it might be a suggestion to just highlight and share that occasionally, because Ernesto is one of those guys who just does. He doesn't say a whole lot. So we might want to help him there, kind of show what is happening in the facility. So thank you, sir.
I would agree. I think a lot of the dissatisfaction probably comes mostly from the older buildings that we have at SPC. And also, we don't utilize all of our space here on this campus as effectively as possible. So we do have people in some instances where they're in offices and it's very crowded and crammed. And that's why we did the walkthrough, so that we could talk about how do we better utilize our space on SPC. And in addition to that, if I may, we have some space that, we have student services, support services for students like TRIO programs in a building that's really more of an academic building, where all the other support, the learning support and computer labs are in a different building. And so we had a lot of conversations about how do we make that make more sense.
Okay, thank you.
So the third part of the presentation, this is a challenge. Okay, I'm not sure I'm going to get this right. President Gibson, good afternoon. President Gibson, members of the board, Dr. Elliott, faculty, staff, and guests. I'm speaking about 7.3, the overall teaching environment. And again, we're looking at the satisfaction with that environment. At present, the target group, the group we're compared against, is actually above 80% in terms of overall satisfaction with teaching. I feel like I just want to talk instead of, can people hear me this way? Is this good enough? That's better than, okay, because I'm not managing that very well. I'm not so good with the technology myself. The overall is above 80%, or just right at 80% for the majority for our comparison group. And I will add that comparison group is really an honor roll group within our benchmarking group. So those are the high achievers, but that's where we want to be. The board has set a target for us of 60%, which is, I think very achievable. We're hovering around 50% and have been for quite some time. So down to about 47 this year, but just right in that 50% mark. I'm just going to ditto what was said previously by Mr. Wadka and by Dr. Elliott, that I think some of the dissatisfaction has to do with those older facilities here at SPC and with some of our organizational issues, which we're addressing both of those. So we hope to have some improvements on the horizon very soon. So some of our recent improvements, we're actually just at the end of constructing the new science building, which is going to be amazing. So we'll have classes and office space in there starting in the fall. We do have some upgraded technology and computers coming into classrooms. This is an ongoing process. A couple of things that are a little bit on the softer side, not necessarily part of the infrastructure itself, but we have more targeted training for faculty. On the academic side of the house, we've developed a new distance education faculty training. And although that's really aimed at distance education, it's also assisting with Blackboard and other kinds of things that really have been a bonus, I think, for our faculty who have participated. And we do have ongoing Blackboard training, so helping people use those tools more effectively. And then we have an excellent task force in process right now, which is winding down a little bit in terms of the initial charge, which was to look at our ITE, our distance TV education. But I believe the group may continue. They've been working very, very well together to communicate between academics and IT, to look at what some of those concerns are and to try to reach some improvements. And again, planned improvements are to drill down and gather more specific information from faculty about what they need, and also to look at the redevelopment of the classrooms, which has already been discussed. And we've actually already made some progress, some initial progress, just following up on that walk around. We've made our first steps towards realigning some of the office spaces and teaching spaces in the academic side. So we're hoping that some of those will be in place already for the fall. So hopefully we'll get to that 60% mark fairly quickly. Any questions? No? All right. Thank you very much.
We want to thank the team for the presentation that we just received. I have found the discussion on ends through the various meetings that we have been listening to the reports very helpful. I think it's exciting that we are focusing on how we want our programs to impact people, and I think it's really key. I guess, are there any questions relative to the general discussion on ends? My question would be this, and maybe we don't answer it today, but that is, do we sense and feel that the ends that we currently have in place are appropriate for this time and day, or do we need to look at those again and perhaps restructure or rethink, or are we good?
Could you talk a little louder? We can't hear you at this end.
I would be glad to talk a little louder.
Thank you.
I was asking the team and Dr. Elliott if the ends as they currently are constituted are appropriate for this time and day, or whether they need to be relooked at and perhaps tweaked down the road.
And in July, this is what we will go over all of these again, like we did in December. So that will be an opportunity for the board to relook at your ends, make any changes. You can change targets. If these measures aren't meeting your needs, we can change the measures. Many of these ends were used to help develop our new strategic plan as well. So, but we'll do that next month.
Very good. Thank you. That sounds like we're in pretty good shape then. We'll have an opportunity. All right. Next item on the agenda is to announce the next board meeting, which will be August 21st here at the Signal Peak campus at 2 p.m. And with no other items on the agenda, I declare this meeting adjourned. Thank you all for being here.